Well, a warm welcome to you guys wherever you are. You can see our cast of characters. Right now, I've got everybody's faces showing here. Well, on your panelist side, that is. We can't see you, but we know you're here. Welcome to our Sunday gathering. I'm Sandra Champlain. And for the last 2 years, can I say it? The last 2 years, we have been celebrating on Sundays. This is Sunday Gathering number 104, and we're so grateful that you're here with us. We really are. Phil has choreographed our gathering today, so I'm going to turn it over to him for him to introduce you to our team and tell you about our gathering. Over to you, Phil.
Thank you, Sandra, for that wonderful introduction. And yes, 104 weeks, 2 years, who would have thought? So it's absolutely a privilege as always to be here to share the team and what they're doing with you. And today's theme is hope, belief and faith, because we all need that little bit of hope at the moment. We've got to keep our faith and we must have that belief in what we're doing. And as always, we have that warm and wonderful welcome by our wonderful Sandra Champlain. We also have Mr. Darren Wynn, who'll be opening us up in prayer. And we have the wonderful, illustrious Miss Kerry McLeod sat at my side, doing the healing and doing something a little bit different, a little bit talk as we go into that healing. And it's a real privilege to have two special friends with us all the way from the UK, Kath and Mitch. Shirley, President and Vice of the National Longton Spiritualist Church. It's always a pleasure to have friends, but also to have true ambassadors of the spirit world. And for myself, being the chair, it's always a privilege to put a Sunday gathering together, to bring that hope, to bring that healing, to bring that inspiration, but to also share our truths, the truth of the spirit world, and also the truth of human beings that come together to support everybody out there. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Darren Wynn to open us up in prayer.
Thank you for that wonderful welcome, Phil, and welcome to all of you to our 104th Sunday gathering. So if you'd all like to close your eyes and join me for the opening prayer. We come together here today united in hope, faith and belief that coming together as one, we can truly make a difference within this world, no matter how big or how small. As we unite here together as one, we do so with the same goals within our hearts and our minds, to truly unite the two worlds together as one. And we do so in the understanding that we all join here together today from different countries around our globe. We come here from different understandings, different learnings, different teachings and different beliefs. But today we come together as one with nothing but love within our hearts and our minds. And we cast aside our daily lives for this brief moment, putting aside our own desires, our own expectations and our own wants. And we enter into this experience with an open heart and an open mind, so we can allow our workers here today and our dear friends, helpers and loved ones from that world unseen to work truly together as one with no shackles or binds. Allow them to be free and open to express their thoughts of wisdom and their words of truth and pass that healing balm so that we can all experience the true essence of the spirit and truly be blessed to feel that love and that joy from bringing the two worlds together as one. Our workers here today deem it an absolute joy and privilege to work on behalf of that world unseen. And we feel proud and privileged to work with your world, for your world, and represent your world. And we do this with the utmost truth and integrity. And we hope within our own special way we can represent you in the best way possible and truly make you proud. As we enter into this Sunday gathering of hope, faith and belief, we do so with nothing but love within our hearts, positivity within our minds, and smiles across our face. And we ask that as we enter into this Sunday gathering, that a healing balm is cast across the world to bring a smile and joy to those that are in need at this time, that are going through moments of fear and dread. And we ask that healing balm be extended to some of the leaders across our world to help them make the right decisions and stop some of the insanities going on across our world today. So as we enter into the experience, friends, we do so with nothing but love within our heart, and we welcome you here all today. Amen.
Thank you very much, Darren. It's my absolute pleasure to be able to share the healing with you. And as I outlined some healing last week, but I want to offer a slightly different perspective on that. Because healing comes from that creative force of life. It comes from who many would feel is God. It comes from something that is seen and yet unseen. We can see the effects of healing, but we can't always understand how it is affecting an individual. We don't always see the outpouring of healing that hits somebody, but we know it makes a difference. Now, many of you will have joined us in our healing moment and our healing song last week, and many of you might have entered into healing yourself throughout the week. Because as we do that, the spirit world and that creative force of life takes every single piece of healing that is sent from our world to an unseen world. It takes it to where it's needed most. Now, in the unseen world, in the spirit world, we do send healing for people that are transitioning, and we know there's more people than need be transitioning at this particular time in the world. So when we send healing, we can make a difference there. But actually, healing can be moved from the unseen world into our world, the seen world. And as seen as our world is, we won't always understand the difference we can make. Now, those of you out there that have experienced healing and have experienced the healing power that has come from that creative force of life, you might have felt a temporary correction of any ailments you had. Whether it be dis-ease or unease, healing allows us to momentarily remove the pain and suffering that we have. That pain and suffering can only be removed temporarily until we find a way of removing what causes that dis-ease or unease or pain. If we look at, and as I spoke last week, that our bodies are 60% water, the world is 60% water. And as we shared last week, when we allow the words and the music of love and kindness and healing to touch water, it absorbs that and it shares it. So we know now that our thoughts, our prayers, our words, our acts and deeds make an incredible difference to people around about the world. And in that incredible difference that we can make, you matter. You are of matter, and yes, you matter. You might be in pain yourself, you might have things happening in your own world, and it doesn't really help you if you're in that place within pain or illness to think of anybody else who might be worse. We know that comparison takes our attention away from self, but maybe that's where attention needs to be in this moment. So as we enter into this healing, allow yourself to send some healing to you as well. Because by taking part in the healing that we're about to work through, as you move into that healing power, magic happens. Because some of that healing naturally stays within you. There's no way that you can be that vessel for healing and for some of it not to touch your soul. For some of it not to be brought into the physical body and into the mind and into the emotions. This allows you to move past what might be paining you, move past what might be creating aches within you temporarily. Allowing yourself to sit within that healing power allows yourself to fully immerse yourself in the healing power of whoever you feel your God is, that creative force of life, the divine, that light within you that is connected to the light within everybody else and everything else around about you. When you are that channel for that healing power, you are irrevocably changed, which means you can irrevocably change somebody else. Now, I said last week that you might never know the difference that you've made until the time has come for you and I at the allotted time to transition to the spirit world. But I believe, and I have faith in the fact that spiritual healing makes all the difference. And you and I know that right now our world needs healing. The people need healing. Situations need healing, and thoughts. We can make a difference when we gather together, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on record. When we gather together into a space, a sacred space purely for healing, we make a difference. We have to have faith and belief that we make that difference. So in a moment, we're going to start some music for you to listen to, but just before we do, I'm going to ask you to enter into that healing space, because it's a little bit more than just sending your thoughts, although healing thoughts are beautiful and they do make a difference. But when you enter into that healing space and you're in that space where you can share the healing power through you to somewhere else, you will feel it, you will know it, and you will experience it. So just for a moment before the music starts, close your eyes and enter into a space where you feel yourself allowing and giving permission for whatever healing needs to move through you to take place. Allow each breath you take to enhance the very sense of who you are. And as you do, you'll feel yourself grow energetically and within that power that is you. Each breath increasing that ability of you to be able to manifest and create that light within you. And as you do, imagine that God force or creative force of life beginning to flow through you. And that flowing through you is of that healing light. Feel that creative force of life share that healing light through you. And as it does, and as the music begins, send that healing to a person, a village, a town, a city, or a country. And know, have faith and belief in the healing power of what you're about to engage in.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. And it's so nice to be back here on a sunny evening in Staffordshire. And hope is something that, well, I'd like to hope that you all have. But when we look at our futures, actually, none of us have that crystal ball, do we? None of us know what's in store for us. But what we do have is we have a trust, which is the faith part, and a trust in those around us. We who believe in God and know of God's existence have that hope, have that belief, and have that faith that it's all there. But all of that's lovely and it's all fluffy and, very nice to consider. But what happens when we have nothing? What happens to each and every one of us when all of our hopes, all of our dreams, all of our tomorrows seem to have been eradicated? What do we do then? How do we as individuals cope with life? And it's all been very horrific and in our faces, on the TV, on the radio, in the newspapers. everything we see at this moment in time gives us very little hope. It makes it look as if this world is really a very dark and dismal place. And how can we believe that things will change for the better? How do we have faith and trust in others who are world leaders who we have seen tell lies? And in human terms, we have seen lives destroyed. And it goes against everything, absolutely everything that we as human beings feel and know and believe in. And, you know, I'm sure you've met people who have been in the Second World War, for instance, and told you or you know of their stories. And last week I met the family of a gentleman who lived to be 100. And he was 102 weeks. And then he passed to the spirit world. And he told his son, I have lived my life. I've nothing else to give. I've nothing else to do. I've got no more dreams to fulfill. I don't hope for anything for myself. But what I do hope is that this world could see its way to working towards peace. And that really isn't a great deal to ask for, is it? You know, in the great scheme of things, how do we achieve peace? At this moment, world peace, or peace in parts of our world, seem to be a little bit difficult. However, we can, as Kerry guided us there with those wonderful words and that advice that she gave, we can sit every day. We can concentrate on those wonderful healing thoughts, sending out those gentle hugs, sending out our love, knowing that they are very, very real. And we know, we think about things, but we don't know the actions from those thoughts. We know we can send someone our good wishes, and yet we don't always know the actions from all of that. If you look at the world at this moment, we have a populace of people who are displaced. They have nothing. And I know that there have always been sections within society, populations within communities, the world over, since time immemorial, there have been people who have no home, who have no work, no money, no prospects. And yet they seem to somehow exist, and I always hope that they are well. I always hope that they find a way that their lives can change. But, you know, sometimes our thoughts aren't enough, are they? Our thoughts need some action to go with those loving thoughts. And it's wonderful to have loving thoughts. There's nothing wrong with that. But we also need to take action. And I'm not suggesting that you all stand up and do something right now. Please remain seated. But, you know, as a community of people, we owe it to our world to do as much as we can possibly do. And that might be that you are on the end of the telephone for somebody. You might have someone who has the ultimate faith and trust in your friendship, in your word, and trust that you will always be honest with them, that you will follow up, that you will carry out what you've said you will do. You will always have children who believe in Santa Claus. That's a magical part of life. You will also have children who will believe in the tooth fairy. And I don't know about you, but I believe that the tooth fairy has a bottomless pit that he now puts not just coins in, but there's actual cash going in there, and they want notes now. They don't just want a penny for a tooth. But you know, there's all these things that we believe. We believe that we will continue. We believe that life never ends. We believe that after all of this world is done with us as human beings, that we will move on into, as yet, an unseen world. We have faith that when we go to our friends, our family members, our religious leaders, that we will gain some sustenance and something that we can really get our teeth stuck into that gives us hope. But you know, all of that is something that hinges on, well, faith is something that we hold on to from here, from within us, our hearts, our spirits. And belief is something that we think. So that's more of a mental thing. But when we look at the whole thing holistically, none of that actually has any evidence or proof attached to it. We believe as children in Santa Claus, and the evidence is that on Christmas morning, magically, the presents are there and we have a wonderful time. We have faith that people are honest with us, but often we don't actually know. It's something inert, it's something within us, it's something part of our soul that's talking to us. And all of those things, all of the people that we come into contact with who give us the positivity, who are honest with us. And sometimes honesty doesn't always come with frills. It's not always pretty. However, personally, I would always prefer honesty. I would prefer people to be authentic. I love people who are not afraid of who they are. Children are wonderful at it. They have no boundaries. They have no filters. They really do say it as it is. As one of our daughters once said to the dentist, "Oh my God, you're a dentist, your teeth are brown." And she was correct. However, that truth was a little bit brutal. But you know, that's the honesty of a child's mind, and you can't knock it. It's beautiful. I don't think the dentist actually thought that, and I could have really crawled out of that room right there and then. However, we have a point to all of this. In life, all we can do is be, and be in the moment. We cannot drape our hopes and dreams on yesterday, and we cannot think, well, I can't forgive for that because that's robbed me of what I wanted, because over there in the past has gone. So we hang on to things in the hope that it changes what was, but that can never be. We can only change what is. We can't change what's to come either, because we're not there. And it's very true to say that today is the only day we're alive. We are alive in this day. This day is Sunday, the 20th of March, 2022. We are witnessing untold harshness, aggression, violence, and horror from one human being towards another human being. And yet, everybody lives in that moment. Everybody also deserves to be loved, because we cannot ever, ever hope to bring about a change where there is darkness without the light of those who wish to see goodness, who wish to see peace. And that light has to begin within us. And so to hope, to bring about changes, to hope to have that magical aspect of life, to have that belief in the things that we believe in, whatever your beliefs are, to have that faith in humankind, we have to begin that work with us. Each and every one of us has to look at who we are. What are we doing in our lives that's good? What are we doing in our lives to give another person some faith, some belief, some hope to carry on? So what we need to do is to assess and really, really look into who you are and what you stand for. Are you being authentic? Are you putting up with things because it's what people wish to hear? Do you find yourself saying, oh, yes, 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 I'll do that, yes, when you really want to be saying no? No is one word, and it is a complete sentence. It requires no caveat. No. You do not need to explain to another living soul why you've said no, and yet I'm sure you will, because you don't want to upset people. But you know, in this life, we are responsible to one person. We are responsible to ourselves. We might be responsible for our family members who need us because they're vulnerable, but we're only responsible to us. So today, start with yourselves. Look at what's holding you back. Many years ago, I know that one thing that was holding me back was something that someone had done, something that I couldn't move forward with my life because that one thing was really, really holding me back. And the reality of that is that what that one person did was not holding me back, but my thoughts about it were holding me back. And so to say to another person, I forgive for what happened because I do not want to hold on to that. I forgive for what happened or what was said because it frees me from the shackles of being bitter, of being held back by my own bitterness or my own anger or my own fears, whatever it is. But holding on in some way for someone to say, I'm sorry, is a little bit like herding cats. It's never going to happen. And you know, when you forgive someone, you never have to tell them. You do it all in here. You don't have to say, and Mitch is sitting to my left, and so I don't have to forgive him for anything, but if I had, I don't have to tell him. I can forgive someone this week who said something that was totally uncalled for, and I forgive them because I'm not going to stand still in my life and allow what was said to hold me back. You all deserve hope. You all deserve to have that faith in mankind and in yourself and have that belief that, right, from this day forward, I can move on. I can move forward with my life knowing that I am living in this moment, on this day, on this Sunday. So your homework, should you choose to pick it up, is to look at all of those in your life from when you were a child up until the present day, who may have said something, who may have done something, or a situation has happened in your life that you need to forgive. But forgiveness frees you and allows you to have faith, to believe, and ultimately to give that hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kath. Always delighted to have you with us. Oh, our Sunday gatherings are very special, as I'm sure you now know. Well, we're going to move into our demonstration of mediumship, and both Kath and Mitch are our mediums today. And when we talk about the continuity of life, as wonderful it is as it is to get a message from a loved one or be witness to these loved ones coming through, the bigger picture is that we all know that we've got an invisible cheering committee behind us. We have people supporting us and loving us from that unseen world that walk with us. Sure, they have jobs to do and lives to live, but they're only a thought away. So to know that that support is there, that our lives are valuable, that we can do some of those great things that Kath mentioned and really live our lives. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. And so as we move into our demonstration of mediumship, the spirit world has this all planned. They know who's in our congregation, no matter where in the world we are. They are so intelligent. They have their representatives picked as who will come through and deliver a message to a loved one. Now, just because a handful of people get readings today doesn't mean all of our loved ones aren't there. They're just representatives. And if you listen closely to some of the messages and to some of the words that come through, you'll realize that you can take on that information for yourself and your life, and that your loved ones are also witnessing you with the steps that you take. Joyous ones and the sadder times. They are with us, and the support and love is very real. So when Kath and Mitch work, they will have a spirit person that contacts them. They'll use all of their senses to try to relay to you the information they are getting. At first, they're going to give several bits of information about the person, maybe if it's a male or female or mother, father, maybe what they did for a living, who knows. But we want you to listen in very keenly to those first bits of information. And if you can recognize that person, every single bit of that information, as somebody that no longer walks this earth, but was in your life. Sometimes they're a little distant, sometimes they're real close family members, sometimes friends. But if you are getting that pull in your heart that, oh, that's my person, we want you to press your raise hand button. And for our friends that are new with us, or anyone else who just likes pressing buttons, if you want to find that raise hand button right now and press it and see what happens, feel free. It's audience participation. And then you'll want to, it'll say lower hand. You want to press that button again, so your hand goes down. And sometimes it takes a few minutes to find out who the recipient is. So we just ask everyone to have that integrity. Only raise your hand if you can take all the information. And at what point we figure out that we are down to one person who can take the information, we'll ask you to unmute yourself. Now, you can't see any unmute button now, but I have to press a special button on my side for that to appear. And so you'll be able to talk to Kath or Mitch. And when I say talk, it's really as simple as just 3 responses. Let them do the work with the spirit world to deliver this information. All we need from you is yes, no, or I don't know. Okay? So give them a good firm yes, no, or I don't know. Sometimes people are so excited they want to volunteer tons of information, but we don't want that. We want everybody to realize that it is them talking to your loved one in the spirit world. Okay, so we're going to hear a piece of music. We always do, and it's just a beautiful opportunity to just relax, enjoy the music, but also I always see my grandmother and my dad and even people that are alive that aren't with me presently. Just bring them all into the party, okay? Bring them all in. And like I said, they're only a thought away, and they don't need you to invite them. They're already here. Beautiful song. Hello, Kath.
Hello. Sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button and something came up on my screen. Where's am I going? Right. You didn't need to see that. Anyway, hello.
It happens. Are you working first, I take it?
I'm going first. I'm doing a couple, and then I'm going to leg it that way, and then Mitch will come over, and I'm just warming the seat for him.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm aware of a gentleman here, and I'm aware of his name being Michael, and I believe that Michael had an involvement. I'm not totally sure if it's the Air Force or if he was an airline pilot as well, but I know that there's an interest with aeroplanes is concerned. So first of all, does someone understand Michael in the spirit world? I felt that he was a pilot.
All right. Thank you very much.
Michael
Ladies
the
and
pilot.
gentlemen, if you understand this information, somebody you know, if you could press your raise hand button. Not yet, Kath.
Okay. Now, if I put Michael to one side, as in his name, I feel, would someone understand Dad, who was involved in aeroplanes? I felt he was a pilot.
All right. We've got Leslie
Okay.
with her hand raised.
Okay.
We'll bring
Hello,
in
Leslie Card. It's a long time since I've seen or spoken to this lady.
Oh, Leslie, could you?
Hello.
There you are.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
I was only thinking about you today, so it must have been fate, mustn't it? Okay, so you understand Dad being a pilot.
Yes.
Okay, and would you understand a connection with the name of Michael with your
Yes.
family? You do.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry for putting it to your dad. And you would also understand with Dad that his involvement with aeroplanes and flying aeroplanes was really a passion for him.
Yes. Yes.
Because I'm aware here that he would have told, I don't mean anybody that would listen, but you know, when you had family get-togethers and someone sat with him, or he would walk around, he would like to explain and talk about his experience of being a pilot.
I didn't hear it so much, but he might have told his friends.
Well, would you understand people, the friends that you had would all have known what your dad did because he would have told them in some way? Say no if it's not right.
No.
Okay. Leslie, would you understand your dad having quite a bit of memorabilia about the times that he was flying aeroplanes?
I have it.
You have it, okay. Because I know that I've got things that tell my story. I know that he liked to tell his story, but I'm also aware your dad could hold court and speak with people, but equally he was happy to sit by himself on his own and say very little.
Okay. I never saw that either, but
No.
he loved court.
But would you understand in later life that he didn't speak? He was happy to be by himself.
Yes, when he wasn't well.
Okay, because I know I've got these two aspects to him, where I've got this gentleman who loved to talk, who loved to be in the company of others, and as I said, hold court, and he would be sort of in the middle of it. But then I'm also aware of having this image of a gentleman who's sitting by himself and not really able to engage in a way that he had done.
Probably later on when he wasn't well.
So you understand where these two aspects are coming in. And Leslie, would you also understand with your dad? They're also, now I do know Leslie. I don't know everything about her, but I do know Leslie. So I'm asking for things that I know nothing about. But would you understand with your dad that he kind of has this persona at home that is totally different to the persona outside?
Oh, yes.
And outside of the home, people would have had quite an impression of him that you would not have seen at home.
Yes.
Okay. And I also feel here that his attitude in life, you know, he believed if you wanted anything, you had to go and do it yourself.
Yes.
You, whoever you are, I don't mean just you, Leslie, personally,
yes.
but whoever it is he's talking to, he would encourage people. You've got to go and do it for yourself. You cannot sit and wait for anybody to do it for you. And that was what he was like.
Yes.
He also makes me aware here, in his early life, he found it quite difficult, in as much as I don't feel your dad had a particularly wealthy upbringing. I feel that money was tight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, there's 6 kids, and
Well, yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah,
mouths to feed. But I'm aware that going back to that was something he fought against. So he worked and worked and worked hard because he did not want his having what he grew up with in the same way.
I would never know, but
But you
he
didn't
never
grow
did.
up in the same way that he did.
No,
Okay, so
he
that goes to show that he
he was
worked
frugal.
frugal. Right. Now he makes me aware here, Leslie, that you know how your dad loved to, and I know that you love to talk and tell everybody, Leslie is a fascinating lady. And I know that you have the patience of a saint with other people. And I know that you are happy to talk to anybody. But would you understand, and as I say, I know Leslie, so he's like, stop it. Would you understand that for you, you need to not say yes quite as often?
Yes.
And you find it difficult at times to say no. And you are also one of those people, as I think the majority of us do. We feel a necessity to explain ourselves, and I just want to, you don't need to do that, Leslie. You don't need to explain yourself to anybody, and just be careful and take care of you, and stop being so ready to help everyone else before you've sorted you out.
I'm getting to that.
Okay. Well, clearly not quick enough.
No.
Okay. And just before I leave you, would you understand a lady in the spirit world? And it sounds like Bunty.
Oh.
Like a pet name, not a Christian name, but like a nickname. Bunty. You don't understand that?
No.
Right, I'm moving then. I'm going to love you and leave you.
Okay, could I just say that he was in the British RAF?
Oh, right. Well, I'll say thank you to your dad for all his devotion to country. Then thank you. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Kath.
Okay, so I'm aware of a lady, and what threw me was in this, I don't know about other countries, but in this country, we used to have a magazine child's comic called The Bunty. And that's what I saw. So I was aware of this lady's presence. And then I saw the Bunty magazine. And then I've looked at my hand, and out of nowhere, I don't know why, but I've got blood on the back of my hand. I don't know where I've got it from, which drew my attention. So would someone understand a lady in the spirit world? And I feel that she connects on mum's side. I don't feel she's mum. And I know that the name of Margaret links there, but she has some, I don't know what Bunty means. I'm hoping that someone will go, oh yeah, that it makes perfect sense to me. Does that make sense? Lynn understands that, right? Okay.
All right, Lynn and also Jane.
Okay.
With two
Okay.
ladies.
So, Lynn, do you know what on earth I'm talking about here?
Well, my mother used to regularly read the Bunty, and right up until the day she passed, and I can also take Margaret.
Okay. Now, if this is correct and this is for you, would you understand that there is a Peggy as well as a Margaret?
Yes.
Okay. And your mum is a lady who never lost her soft edges.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I know that. Thank you, Jane. I think I found my lady. I think it's Lynn. I really do. I feel quite emotional with your mum, and that the links to her past, to her history, were never lost. She always maintained them, and she would have carried on her family traditions, no matter how old she became. The little things that Mum did, she always did. Do you understand that, Lynn?
Yes.
And I'm also aware here you must have quite a few of her possessions still with you.
Yes, I have.
And one of the things that I'm being made aware of here, your mum, and I know that lots of ladies do this, your mum must have loved knitting at one point.
That was my nana.
Just hang on a sec. Did your mum have your nana's knitting needles?
Yes.
And have you got them now?
Yes.
Okay, that's where that is. And I'm also aware here that there must be photographs. You know when we used to go into the photo booths with our friends when we were younger and used to have silly photographs taken.
Yes.
You must have those of your mum as well when she was with her friends.
Yeah, I was just looking at them.
Okay, and she also makes me aware here that you have pottery. There's teapots that belong to your mum.
I'm still trying to find them.
Right, okay. And would you also understand a connection with Portmeirion?
It has been mentioned in the family, but I'm not sure what it's about.
Okay, I don't mean the pottery, I mean the place.
Yeah, it's been mentioned, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Right, okay. But I also know that there must have been within your mum had quite a china collection, and your
Yes.
mum would prefer china over any other sort of crockery. And would you also understand here, your mum must have had a collection that had, it looks to me like Wedgwood, that had gold edging on it.
Yeah.
Okay, because all of these things were the things that meant the world to your mum, and she just makes me aware of that. So I'm gonna love you and leave you because Mitch is now pacing to the left of me. But just to let you know that she's been with you and listening, and wants you to be patient, Lynn.
Okay.
I know that really isn't a great advice, but don't give up now, please.
Okay.
Okay.
With the Portmeirion, I'm doing a family tree, and that's where it's come about.
Ah, right,
Yeah, so
okay.
quite
Well, don't
interesting.
give up. Don't give
I'm
up,
not.
will you?
No.
Right, I'm going to shoot that way now. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Oh, thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Kath. And great information and messages for everybody. Don't give up. Yes, it's okay to just say no as well. And in the hot seat, we have Mitch.
But I just thought I'd hold my eye, and when Kath said she didn't know how she got the blood on the back of her hand, just one of the usual slaps that she gives me. But actually, joking apart, I do feel, and I wasn't aware of anybody until literally just moving into the seat, I do feel as though I have a gentleman, and I feel as though he either would have had a problem with his right eye, or he would have lost his right eye, or lost his sight in his right eye. But I am aware of a patch also being worn, and somebody would understand a gentleman who would fit this description.
All right. Thank you very much, Mitch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, press your raise hand button if you understand this gentleman. No hands up just yet, Mitch. Oh, I spoke too soon. Let's see, we have Rosemary. Let's see if I promote you to panelist, and we also have Dory.
Okay.
Let's see. Now, Rosemary will be joining, okay, as the panelist. All right. All right. Well, I know Rosemary communicates through the chat box, and we don't have that on. So maybe, Rosemary, you press your raise hand button for a yes. And would you like to hear Dory's voice, Mitch?
Yeah, well, the important thing I know with this is that it has to be the right eye.
Correct.
All right.
I heard correct there.
That's Dory, and Rosemary also has her hand raised for yes.
Right. Okay. But can they understand that this person, as they wore the eye patch, but I feel as though the eye itself deteriorated to the point where there was no vision in it whatsoever?
No.
That's a no for Dory. And Rosemary, would you press your raise hand button if that's a yes? That's a yes.
Right. Okay. That's got me to who I need, because the gentleman at first I was trying to feel the relationship, and that's not something that I'm being made aware of. It was like as though I needed to. The significant aspect of myself was this loss of sight, but I have to say with him that though he couldn't see everything, he developed his ability to sense things, and knew things were happening to the right of him without even having to see or hear anything.
She's got her hand up for yes. Thank you, Rosemary.
Right. Okay, because I'm aware of this particular aspect. It's an indication of his personality and the fact that he wouldn't allow something to stop him being the man that he is and was when he was here. We talk, as Kath did earlier, about being. He truly was someone who was actually in the moment and lived his life in the moment.
She has her hand raised for a yes.
Right. Okay, that's great. Because I know I need to get this across, but there's an excitement here with him. There's an excitement in the communication. And I know he's a gentleman who loved to be with people who he cared for. If he didn't care for you, he didn't want to know you. But if he cared for you, he wanted to be with you.
Her hand is raised for yes.
Right. Okay. Because that's important that I express this excitement, and this excitement at the opportunity, because I feel that Rosemary would understand that she's been sending her thoughts out for weeks, if not months, for this communication.
Yes, her hand is raised.
Right. Okay. Because it was important that I express this opportunity and being able to grasp this opportunity, and this is what the gentleman wants to get across. He is as excited as her, and I can't form the words quickly enough to keep up with his excitement. And he's just made me aware of the fact that we've recently just had a new puppy, and that puppy excitement when everything's moving in all different directions all at once and they're not actually going anywhere. That's how excited he feels about this opportunity, and wanting to get that across to Rosemary, but also to everybody else, to actually express, and this is important too, Rosemary, the excitement for the communicator is actually in some ways greater than it is for the recipient. It means that much to him to be able to communicate in this way. Because I've got sick of tapping her on the shoulder and her turning round and not, she's thinking rather than feeling my presence.
Got her hand raised to yes.
Right. Okay, that's fine, because he's all like, oh, it's me. You know it's me. You know it's me. And it's important that I express that it is me, and not to doubt that it is me, to know that it is me. You can feel my presence.
Yes.
And I have to say, Rosemary, there are times when you hear his breath.
I think that's a no.
You don't understand that? Okay. I'm aware of the fact that how close he comes, and when he was with you, when he was here, I'm aware of the breath, his breath when talking to you, you could feel it. Do you understand that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I apologize for getting it wrong, but I'm aware of you will feel, and the sense of the breath around your ears again. He will work on those other senses rather than sight, because I know, Rosemary, that you want to see him physically.
Yes.
But he will make you aware through other means, through the other senses, because that's how you communicated when he was here. There's a communication of soul to soul rather than the verbal words, rather than the written words. It's soul to soul. And that connection is still there, and it's important that you know that. There's a connection with this gentleman with tennis.
Yes.
Because he just showed me the tennis ball, the bright yellow one, and at first I thought it was a lemon. And he was like, no, because it was that bright yellow. But then I just saw the fluff that came with it. But I am aware of, as I said about the tennis, the lemon, he's making me aware about learning, but also learning the bitter lessons as well as the lessons that we want to learn. Okay. And there have been a few bitter lessons that have recently affected you. But it's important that you know that he stands and he holds your hand, but I want to bring your hand to his chest. And you would understand doing that when he was here.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what he's just doing. He's just holding your hand and bringing your hand to him and saying that no matter, you will prevail. He can protect you now from the side of life that he is. And he will continue to do that. He will continue to be your knight in shining armor. All right. And thank you so much for speaking to me, Rosemary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mitch. And ladies and gentlemen, we could see Rosemary's nodding of the head. You couldn't see that on the camera, but she was smiling and nodding her head. Thank you, Mitch.
Pleasure. Right. I am aware of a lady stepping in, and I feel that I need to use that term. And it does feel to me as though it's mum, and I feel as though her appearance was very much something that was important to her. But because what she's making me aware of is that the clothes that she would have worn were always classically cut. And I'm aware of pearls that were more like gobstoppers, but a pearl necklace that's like this has got proper big white pearls on, and that there is a gold clasp, and there would have been a small chain that would have gone across to as a safety between the two items. And I feel as though this is mum, but it's the clothes that mattered, but the presentation of the jewelry. She didn't buy it often, but when she did, she went big. And someone would understand those details.
Oh, thank you so much, Mitch. All right. Who can understand this information? We've got Jane Louise with her hand up. Jane Louise, could you unmute yourself? Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jane. So you would understand with Mum this, with where the classic cut of clothing was important to her.
Yes.
And in lots of ways, it was the classic cut of everything. She believed in quality rather than
Yeah.
quantity. Because in particular, I'm aware of two-piece skirt and jacket, but I'm also aware of the blouses that I could change it by putting a slightly different colour within the blouse that I would wear underneath. You do understand
Yes,
that?
I do.
And also the fact that the blouse would have been pressed to within an inch of its life. Yes. It's like no crease could be out of place. It just would not be allowed. And I'm also aware of how you right. Okay. Your mum's got a warm sense of humour, and she's just made me aware here that she would spend as much, if not more time, preparing the clothes to go to bed before she would actually do the removal of her makeup and prepare herself to go to bed. Do you understand that?
I believe so.
Because I'm just aware of this. It's about the presentation, and if you look after things, then they will last you. And then you by going down the classical route, you've always got you can look good. You might not be hip and trendy, and your mum was not bothered about being hip and trendy. She'd been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. Because I feel I have a lady who truly understood who she was.
Yes. Well,
And the
I
reason why
I don't know.
okay, well, the reason why I say that is that understanding how I presented myself, there was a comfort that she had in being within her own shoes.
Yes.
Okay, she didn't try to emulate anybody else. She was who she was, and that she was comfortable with being that person.
Yes.
Okay. Now I am aware here of, and it's something that I know lots and lots of children do, but I'm aware of trying on her shoes and actually shuffling about in these shoes and trying on hats and scarves and things that would have you could actually wear. But what your mum was wanting to get across with that is the aspect of her part of coming is to say to you about standing in your own shoes, not having to try and be someone you're not and copying someone else. And you would understand why she talks about that now.
Absolutely.
Okay, because that is important in the way that she expresses it. Okay. And I've also got to say that these words of time and money have different values. So your mum understood the difference, the value of something as well, not just the cost of things. Do you understand that?
I do.
And you'd understand why she references that at this moment in time with yourself.
I think so.
Right, okay, you say I think so, but I know your mum's trying to talk in code because it's that she's not wanting to give me any more information than she has to. But that was the way that your mum was when she was here. And I'm aware of the fact that you need to value your time as well, equally, as well as your money.
Ah, okay, thank you. Yes.
Yep. You understand that we can do as much with our time as we can with our money. And then this is in reference to a situation I know that she's wanting to address around you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, she's now moving on to my favourite area of the culinary food. She's showing me a cake now, and I feel as okay. You understand your dad in the spirit world as well.
Yes.
I feel as though your dad would have loved a walnut cake.
I know the cake.
Right. Okay. But you would understand that that makes sense with your dad, because walnut is a food for the brain, and your dad was a man who had a brain. You know,
Yes.
he had a brain that could think, could study, but also he had the patience to allow things to naturally happen and not force things as well.
Yes.
I'm not saying that your dad always took you constantly for swimming lessons, but I feel he would have helped you to learn to swim.
No, I don't believe so.
Right. Can you understand that there was a time when you would have been struggling with a particular stroke, and in particular, I feel as though it's not breaststroke, backstroke, and that you were struggling with your confidence to lie on your back, and I feel as though your dad would have actually just got you to float.
I know what you're talking about. It's a memory.
Right. Okay, that's fine, because this is what he was wanting to bring forward there. This thing of actually taking it one step at a time to actually feel comfortable with one aspect, and then we move forward, and then we move forward from that again. And that was your dad's approach to how things needed to be sorted. And this is why he's coming in and offering his advice. Okay, and this is why I just got your mum just coming in. It's like, yeah, he's saying the same thing as me, but he's just doing it in his wordy way. All right, and you would understand that sense of humour with your mum.
Yes.
Okay, but that the two of them come in together to actually to build that energy and to create that energy between them. There was a wonderful bouncing between the two of their energies, and they're just wanting to bring that liveliness to you to give your energy a boost.
I understand that.
Okay, and it is very important that I do that. But I'm also aware here that your dad would like you to actually spend a little bit more time thinking about what you read rather than just reading the words.
I understand that.
Okay, that's fine, because it's important that I bring that together, because at first I was aware of the books and wanting to study different things, but it's spending that time actually reading less, we actually get more from it, because we can actually process it better. And I'm aware of this, just reading a book before I go to bed, just that way of unwinding. And that for your dad, he loved to be able to just read half a dozen pages, 8 pages, that sort of thing, to just settle his mind before he would go to sleep. And he wants to encourage you to do that as well.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. So thank you very much for speaking to me. And
thank you. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. A pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mitch.
Thank you. Right, I'm consciously trying to stop myself hitting the table because Kath's going to punch me, never mind, just cut me. She always tells me off, you stop punching the table. I can't, it's a habit I have. I'm so restricted.
Did you want to do one more contact? Or
Yeah. No, okay. That's fine.
We'll go whatever way you want to go.
No, that was part of. Just as I was aware that's wanting to that, I'm aware of someone here who, when I said about tapping away on the table, I was aware of a gentleman who would have been a pianist. And I mean, not just somebody who would have played the piano, they would have been a pianist. Because I'm aware of this expression. And the way I have to put it, I express my soul through how I played the piano. And someone would understand a gentleman who would have played either on a semi-professional or on a professional level as a pianist.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who can recognize this gentleman? All right, we have Rebecca with her hand raised. Oh, we've got 3 people with their hand raised.
Right.
Do you want to
Okay.
give it, work with it a little further?
No, that's fine. I'm aware here that this gentleman, when he played the music would actually reflect his mood and also the way that he processed thoughts and where he was at. They would understand that as that expression of him.
All right, we have Rebecca with her hand raised, and Peter, your hand is raised also. And you can both take that information.
Right.
Keep
Okay.
your hand raised, yeah.
One of them would understand that the gentleman would have actually played in an orchestra, but I am also aware that there would have been someone else who would be known to them and him as well, who would have played in either a bar or club scenario with a stand-up piano, what we call the smaller one as well.
Okay. Rebecca's hand went down. Peter's hand is still up. Let's bring in Peter.
Okay.
You keep listening in, Rebecca. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Sandra. I'm going to turn this over to my wife, Allison. Sorry for the confusion, but
It's no problem.
direct, maybe a direct connection here. So,
Okay.
Hi, Allison.
Hi.
Hi. So you understand this with a gentleman who would have been a pianist,
Yes.
and either semi-professional or professionally within a classical scenario,
Yes.
but also that he would have known somebody who would have also played in the bar and more like a jazzy type of music. That's what I'm aware of.
Yes.
Right. Okay, that's fine. So you would understand when I started to express the emotion from this gentleman, the first gentleman, where the piano, the playing of the piano could be so beautifully soulful that it would bring tears to people's eyes. And I'm also aware of how what you heard touched you on an emotional level.
I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Right. Okay. Because it's important that I express this sensitivity, and the fact that if he, with himself, he expressed, as I said, his emotions there, but he was also sensitive as a person to others, and would, if he was playing and others were around him, he would alter the music to reflect and lift the person. And also, I know he would have done this with yourself.
Yes.
Because I'm aware of this sensitivity to your feelings, to your emotions. And I'm not saying the other gentleman wouldn't have been, but I feel as though that the other gentleman who would have played would have been someone who would have, it's like not always, but most of the time was trying to be lively within that music, where the difference came within this playing of the classical, but also I'm aware of playing freehand as well.
The other gentleman, no, not so much.
No, but sorry, but you understand with the first gentleman, where this actually, it's not just the music. I'm allowing the music and the mood to take me.
Yes.
Because it's this beautiful, the sound of the piano and the emotions and the gliding of everything, that he could paint a picture without the paint.
Yes.
Through that music. And it's such a wonderful gift, that he treasured and recognized. He recognized how fortunate he was to have that gift.
Yes.
Because I'm aware of the fact that he saw it as something that was for everybody, not just for himself.
Yes.
And I'm aware of this aspect of sharing my time, and not looking for the material things in life. I didn't need the material things. As long as I had a piano that was tuned properly,
Yes,
I'm a happy man.
yes, very much so.
And I'm aware at this moment in time that that aspect of himself is very important for you, because you're changing things on a material level and discarding things that no longer have relevance to both of you.
Nah, I don't know so much about that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to argue with you, very politely and nicely, but I'm not going to agree with you. I'm aware here that there are plans that are being discussed and things that are starting to formulate of changes that will be made and have been discussed. Some may be in a few months, some may be within the next year's period, but I am aware of these discussions and ideas that are being floated.
Okay.
Okay. And if you're not sure of that, please be aware that I've told you that, because I'm aware of this music and getting the music right, and it's a gentle melody. And I just want to say there is something else that you're trying to push through at this moment in time, and I just want to just ease back and actually let it happen naturally.
Okay.
Do everything that you need to do, and that's right to do, but don't push it because of frustration that builds up with that.
Yes.
Okay, that's why he's come and he's bringing the music to like calm you down.
It sounds like
calm
him.
situations are like, hey, it's okay. You know, just remember those things and those melodies and those beautiful notes, because. Right. Do you? No, I'm not gonna. You must have a clock that you have recently had serviced.
I don't know.
Do you have a clock in your house that would be classed as, I suppose, once you get past 50 years, is classed as an antique, an old clock?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Does your husband understand a place where there's a clock that will be at least 50 years old? I feel like I'm talking 50 to 100 years old.
Not meaningfully, but potentially.
Okay. Would you just remember that I've said this? Because what he made me aware of was the clock. And there's the next time that you are there, or there's something about the note that has been rung, and it's not quite right. So do you remember that I've said this with regard to the clock being serviced?
Okay, I will remember that.
Because I know that it's not for anybody else, so I know that it won't go away, and I'm not doing the right thing with it. But I'm aware of this. There's a significance of the clock and the chime, and there will be an information that will come, and somebody will tell you about things not sounding right or not being right, and that there is a need in that area for healing, and he's just wanting to express that and bring that forward. So that's why that aspect of music was healing for him and for others, but I'm also wanting to bring that healing where this clock is concerned. So it's not evidence as it stands at this moment in time, but please remember that I've said it.
Okay, I will.
All right, so thank you both for speaking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
Thank you very much, Mitch and Kath behind the scenes, and everyone for listening so intently. Now, just because a handful of people come in doesn't mean they're not all here. They are. There's beautiful messages and very great words of advice that we can all take on. Our loved ones are here. So often we chalk up things to, oh, it was just our imagination. That's what they use to communicate with us. So if you have a great picture of your loved one, or you can sit quietly and remember some old times and some love and time shared, and just sit in that power. And with that, if there's thoughts that come or feelings, that's them saying hello, that I'm just right here. So we want to let everyone know that you can replay any one of our Sunday gatherings. I had some requests this week. People wanted to see Carrie's healing talk from last week. And yeah, last week was very powerful, but they are all recorded. And our home base is wedon'tdie.com. At the top of the page, it says Sunday Gathering, a free Sunday gathering, something like that. If you click on it, you can see the registration links for what's coming up. Also, if you scroll down, you can now watch 104 of them, but number 103 was when she gave that talk about healing. So you can check that out. Also on that site, on our store page is other things that are coming up. All of our April classes are now available for registration. We have trance, we have mediumship, we have psychic, we have a brand new course called the Spiritual Assessment. So you can work with others to learn and help them develop their soul qualities. On Tuesdays, our friend Scott Milligan is doing Sitting in the Power twice, one in the morning, one in the evening. On Friday, he does a lovely sitting for healing and a demonstration of trance mediumship. There's so much more coming up. You're going to have to check everything out. I know Carrie and Phil have a private reading medium coming up in April, and there's also a clairvoyance class. Yeah, there's more. There's lots of great things. What's important, even though I get paranoid this time that it sounds like I'm selling you stuff, but the thing is life happens when we're on the court, not watching from the stands. It's really wonderful to see these communicators come through, but wouldn't it be something for yourself to experience giving someone a communication through psychic or mediumship, or just learning more about yourself and empowering your soul? So everything's got a money back guarantee, of course. Everything is recorded because you may not be able to join us live, of course, but we are all here really to give some power to you, to put a smile on your face, to empower you, because life is tough right now. And anyways, we want to give you all that we've got. So thank you to anyone who has given so generously to our Sunday gathering to make it available to others. We kindly thank you and respect you and really appreciate it. So I'm going to turn it over to Darren for some thoughts for the week.
Thank you for that, Sandra. I just wanted to talk about our Sunday gathering. If you think about it, you've all got hope, faith, and belief in our Sunday gathering. You're all here. If you think about the hope, why are you here? You're here to take part. You're here to get knowledge, understanding, maybe receive a contact, maybe be part of the healing. There's a whole host of reasons why you're here. You've got the trust. You've got the trust in Sandra, Kerry, Phil, Kath, and Mitch to kind of deliver on that hope to some degree, whatever that may be. But you have the belief. You have the belief in that unseen world to be here week in and week out and deliver week in, week out. What would happen if you were sat here today and you didn't have the hope? Well, you probably wouldn't be here watching. Can you imagine if you didn't have the faith? You didn't have the faith in Sandra, Phil, Kerry, Kath, Mitch. We'd put an empty chair there. And can you imagine if you didn't have the belief in that unseen world? Well, do you know what? We'd just give up and go home now. But you don't. You have that hope, you have that faith, and you have that belief. How easy is it for us to have that hope, that faith, and that belief in others, in other people? It can appear quite easy, can't it? But I want to touch on something Kath spoke about. When we look at ourselves, and you're probably thinking, oh my God, as I do, when we truly look at ourselves, do we truly have that hope, that faith, and that belief in ourselves? I guarantee there's a few nodding heads or shaking heads out there, because we don't, do we? We don't have that hope or that faith or that belief in ourselves. But why is it it's easier for us to have it in others than ourselves? And I know we've mentioned it many times on this show, and I know Kath touched on it. We have to be our true, authentic selves. It's only when we're truly, it's only when we truly are who we are that we can move forward, that we can progress. So let's take a look at ourselves. You know, we all have our own hopes, our own dreams, our own desires. Do we have the trust to get there? Do we have the beliefs in ourselves to get there? Probably not. But that's what we need to look on. You know, let's look at our hopes. We've all got hopes and dreams. But a little hint, keep your hopes and dreams out a little bit realistic. You know, if your hope and dreams is to win £1 million on the lottery, chances are it probably ain't going to happen, in being realistic. So the faith and the belief you put behind it is not going to deliver it. So you're going to lose that faith. You're going to lose that belief. So with our hopes and our dreams, let's make them realistic, that we can achieve it, we can do it, and trust yourself. Put the faith in yourself to deliver that, and believe you can. Don't allow others to sway you from your dreams and your desires. If you've got a belief, you stick to it. And when you put your 100% heart and soul into it, you can achieve your hopes. So let's try practice us, working with ourselves a bit more. Put that hope there, put that faith and that belief behind it. And trust me, you can do it. We can do it so easily for others. I'm sure we can do it just as easily for ourselves. We just need to believe in ourselves and be our true, authentic selves. So thank you for listening to me, and I'll hand you to Kerry.
Thank you very much, Darren. And thank you everybody for joining us today. It is our real pleasure to be able to deliver the Sunday gatherings. It's been lovely seeing Kath deliver the address and Kath and Mitch deliver the mediumship. So thank you very much. As we draw this Sunday gathering to a close, let us enter into that silence to wherever you feel your God is as we say that prayer of thanks. Divine and ever-present Spirit, today as we entered into that sacred space where we combine these two worlds into a world which is more real, which is those two worlds combined. May we sense that our loved ones and friends are just beside us. May we know that they walk with us, and we never fail to appreciate that love or that light within ourselves. Today, as we've walked, we've heard those words of hope. We've heard those words about faith and belief. We've heard those words from that invisible world, and yet that world so real, communicate that they are so close to us. We know ourselves as we go into the week ahead, that we take that world unseen with us. And whenever we think about this time we've spent together, may we enter into that healing modality and allow those thoughts, however brief, to be sent to those people or that person who needs it the most. And may we also remember that we ourselves are always in need of that reassurance that that unseen world is with us, allowing our friends and loved ones support us and guide us as we take the steps forward. So until we meet again within this sacred space, we bid everybody a week full of love, faith, hope, and belief. Amen.
Thank you very much, Carrie. And as we close today, of course, thank you for being here. This song is called I Believe, and it's an Elvis Presley song that I've not heard before. It's beautiful. So soak it up. And here's our closing song.